Hi there, Destiny here, and welcome back to the Creators MBA show. Now, if you have been around in my world for any length of time, you have heard me say that my peer mastermind has done more for my business than anything I have ever been in. So this is the episode that I finally take you inside of it. Kate Kordsmeyer is in this group with me, and the story of how it all started still astounds me because we live around 20 minutes apart in Atlanta and we had never met. And in the exact same month, we were both trying to build the same thing. So in this episode, we talk about how all of that got started, and we also talk about the commitment rule that has kept our peer mastermind alive when a lot of other peer groups that I've been in have fizzled out. We'll also talk about what a normal week looks like and the kind of numbers we share with each other that none of us post publicly. All right, you ready to get into it? You're going to love this one. I am super excited about this conversation, and I have one of my dear friends with me, Kate. And Kate, I'll give you a second just to introduce yourself. Kate is in my peer mastermind, and what I wanted to do was bring her on today, and we can talk a little bit about our peer mastermind and take you by the behind the scenes about how it got started, what we do, what the benefit is for us. And I have said several times that this is one of the things in my business that I think has made the biggest impact. And we've been doing this, Kate, I don't know, for over a year, maybe a year and a half now. I can't remember the exact time.
I think close to 2 years.
Close to 2 years. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Kate. We're just going to have a discussion here. But first, tell the good audience just a little bit more about you and how you help people.
Okay. My name is Kate Kordsmeyer. I'm so glad to be here. I didn't even know Destiny before the Weird Hermits formed, and we'll talk about that name in a minute. But I'm so glad that we met, and we're both here in Atlanta, so we get to have some lunch dates, and we just had a pool day the other day, and it's been so fun to be here in person. My business is Success with Soul. Destiny and I feel like are cut from the same cloth, and we both have, interestingly, prior to knowing each other, programs called MBA. And so my program is called Mindful Business Academy. I take a little bit more of a woo spiritual approach to some things in my business, but I think that we both just are naturally very strategy minded. We're both INTJs. I feel like we just are soul sisters. And so I'm excited to be here. And what's interesting and really fun about doing this interview in particular is that really we both tried to form these masterminds separately and ended up coming together. So I'm excited to tell that story and just, again, both to show you that we both work like great minds think alike.
Yeah. Yeah, and why don't we just go ahead and jump in and tell people how all of this started? Because I do think it was the universe, right?
Yeah.
Bringing us together. And I'll tell my side of it, and then you could tell your side of it. So I was at a point, I think, in my business where I personally felt lonely. I had been in a mastermind with somebody who was very lovely, but I just didn't feel the connection with the other members. It was more about we came to hot seats with her and she coached us on our business. And I felt like, and that was, that was happening. We were going through that, but I just didn't feel like I didn't have the connection with other people. So what I wanted was a very small kind of peer mastermind where we could get together every single week and basically help each other, support each other. And that's when I started thinking about people in my world, maybe people that I had done collaborations with. And I started to reach out to them and I said, this is what I have in mind. Are you interested? And one of them, I think you had reached out to them, Kate, and I had reached out to them. And this was Steph, Blake, who's in our mastermind. She raised her hand and wait, is this the same thing? Because she got asked from both of us. And we're like, no, it's not the same thing, but it would be great if we could all do it together. And that was my kind of remembrance of how everything came together.
Yeah, same. And I think what's serendipitous about it too, like I just got response as you said that, is that it wasn't like we were months apart. We were both in the exact same month trying to build the exact same thing. We just didn't happen to know each other well enough to ask the other to be in it. So thank goodness for Steph saying, wait a second. And then, I think she said something to me and I said, could I reach out to Destiny and see if she wants to just combine these? And so we did. And I was like, yeah, that would be great. And we had a lot of, if not the same exact people, a lot of similar people that we were thinking of for this. So I think also when we first started, we had a larger group and we came to that first call and said, what do y'all each want out of this? What are you looking in it for in a peer mastermind? And then naturally, some people dropped off. Oh, you know what? I don't think this is what I'm looking for. And I think we all handled that really well. There wasn't any drama or hard feelings or anything. It was just like this core group of us that stayed really knew what we wanted it to be. And we knew we needed a really strong commitment from people, that this wasn't going to be a mastermind you could like maybe show up to once a month. And sometimes you'd miss and it would just peter out. And so the people that were like, I can't commit to that right now, fell off. And we got left with this amazing core group. And it's changed a little bit over time, but it's really been the same main people since we started. So do you want to tell everybody what is the Weird Hermits and where did that name even come from?
Yeah, I definitely think we need to go into that. But I do want to mention something. Yeah. You and I both live in the Atlanta area. I'm in the suburbs. You're more closer to the city. And I did not know you before this. That was crazy, right? I mean,
it really was. I think I had just participated in one of your events for the first time ever. Or maybe I had I can't even remember, but I knew your name, but we had never met. We had never done any of the same things at the same time, at least. I think now we've found out that, we both did these programs, but we weren't doing it together.
Yeah. So I just wanted to mention that because I think that's a really fun fact there. But in terms of the Weird Hermits, I don't even remember like all the background there. You remind me, Kate, how did we get that name?
I feel like, so most of us are pretty introverted. We kept making jokes in the first couple of months about how, one of us hadn't left the house in a couple weeks, like one of us. And somebody said, I want to say it was Tara, said, because I'm just a weird hermit. And I said, oh my God, that's what we should call ourselves. Because one of our original members who's no longer with us anymore, Sage, that sounded like she died. She's still out living her best life. She's just not part of the Weird Hermits anymore. Sage had wanted to give us a name and we were, do we need a name? Whatever. But we had been calling us the 6-figure mastermind and we were like, that's lame. We want to come up with something better. So as soon as I heard somebody say, I'm just a weird hermit. And then we all were like, I'm a weird hermit. I'm like, that's it. That's our name.
Yeah, I love that. And I do think it was Tara that said that.
Yeah.
I just like the Weird Hermit. I think we all resonated with that because we're like deep into what we're doing in our business and so on and so forth. Yeah. I do want to go back to something you said earlier, and that was when we were forming all of this and we were talking about the commitment.
Yeah.
And I do think is what's been kind of the glue that's kept us together is getting the commitment from people. And some people decided, you know what, I can't do it. But the people who stay, I feel like they're super, super committed.
Super committed. And we've had several periods over the last 2 years where we've had to ask people to recommit, to say, okay, we're going into a new season here. No hard feelings. If this isn't for you right now, if something's going on in your personal life, in your business, if it's just not what you need. And so we have had some people leave, like you said, but then the people that stay are like, okay, I'm really all in on this. And so one of the questions I wanted to ask you is what each of us were missing at the time that made us say yes to this. And I think for me, that was a huge piece of it. I had been in other peer masterminds, in other paid masterminds, which again, paid masterminds, what you said, my experience was more like there was a leader and a host, and we were all there for her or him, but it wasn't as peer to peer. And sometimes I made great friends from there, but it just was a different vibe. And then the peer masterminds that I've been in all fizzled out pretty quickly because there wasn't this like, I say buy-in, but I don't mean people paid. I just mean that there wasn't that commitment from people. There wasn't an expectation set. I think part of what makes us Weird Hermit too is that we are all maybe weirdly committed to our businesses, and we're all very comfortable with just expressing our needs and saying, this is what we want. And these are the expectations. We can have difficult conversation. And I think that is unique. So anyway, that's a long way to say that for me was like what I felt like I was missing along the same point of your, the commitment theme. What do you feel like was missing for you?
I definitely think that was like, I wanted a group of peers, women, who I could go to and basically say, this is what's going on in my business. I'd love to get your feedback on it, because I felt like I was in such a silo in my own brain, right?
Yeah.
Being a kind of an entrepreneur, solo entrepreneur, even though I have team members, I really am making all the decisions myself. PAs aren't making that decision. I'm making the decisions. And I just missed having someone or a group of people that I could bounce ideas off of, because I felt, even though I felt pretty clear on the direction I was going in, I just was like, what if? I needed somebody to really look at what I was presenting and poke holes in it, if you would.
Yeah. And so I think we had that first call and we all went around, and there was over a dozen of us on that call, and everybody went around and said, what are you looking for? And that was some of the stuff that came up. I think another piece that came up that's really proven to be true is that we were really looking for collaborators. And we didn't want to be so siloed in our own businesses that we couldn't work together on things. So a lot of us have done JV webinars together. We all always, anytime one of us is hosting an event or a podcast or a panel or anything, we're always speaking at each other's things. We're doing newsletter swaps and sharing things about each other's stuff. We're all affiliates for each other. And that part felt really good too, that we can all support each other that way, which is, again, different from other masterminds I've been in.
Yeah, and I love that. And you just reminded me of a total message that I responded to this morning. I think you did too, where one of our members raised her hand and said, I'm looking for newsletter swaps. Does anybody know that? And I'm like, you raised your hand, I raised my hand, and we're definitely all in on that. So yeah, I love that about what we're doing together.
Yeah, that's really fun. And to your point earlier too, like we are spread all over the place. So yes, I are both in Atlanta, but the rest of our crew, which I think we're 9 people right now, is that right? Or are we 10? I can't remember exactly.
I think it's 10.
10. Okay.
But yeah.
Yes. So, but we're all spread all over the place. So let's walk people through like where everyone is, and if that is an issue remote wise, if it's ever become a problem not being all in the same place.
Yeah, so we expand upon that for those of you listening. We do meet and get together in person at least twice a year. I know we do some other events where we might go to a conference together or whatever, but just at least twice a year, we all get together, and we have one person in the UK. We have one person in upstate New York. We have somebody on the West Coast, Seattle type area, 2 people in Dallas, 1 person in Florida. I'm sure I'm missing something.
Chicago.
I forgot about Chicago. Yes.
Yeah. So we really have been, I will say we're pretty North American. Tara was in the group for a while. She was in Canada. I think maybe she was our only Canadian, but most of us are in the States. But Ruth's been with us in the UK the whole time. And I would say the only thing that is challenging, time zones are always a little bit challenging, even just West Coast, East Coast stuff. But that one, I always feel bad for Ruth because I feel like, oh, she's meeting late her time in the evening. So and it seems to work well enough for her. But that's the only remote struggle I think we've had at all is just that one time zone. And I'm sure she would love to have another UK person to share that load with.
Yeah, that honestly, I'd love to do one of our in-person events.
I know.
Personally, so I love going over there. Speaking of our in-person events, our next one, we're doing it in New Orleans. So I'm super excited about that one. I think
That's going to be fun. Yeah. What have we done so far? We've done Atlanta twice. We're doing New Orleans. And we have one other one.
Oh, I can't remember. I know we've done some conferences together.
Yeah. So Destiny and I and Monica and a couple others went to, was that Austin?
We did that
was in Austin. And then some of us are like, a bunch of us are going to Mexico in November for a retreat that's separate from this mastermind, but we do end up doing some other things in person together. Now, when we were in Austin, we were with some other friends there that are not in our peer mastermind, but they have their own peer mastermind. And they were asking us, so how does this actually work for y'all? They've been doing theirs for a decade. They've been longstanding and theirs is much smaller. But they really wanted to know, what is the commitment? You guys keep talking about the commitment. And so let's tell everybody, what does a normal week look like for us? What do we do on the call? That kind of thing.
Yeah, so we get together once a week for at least an hour and a half. Now, I know a lot of times, honestly, it runs to even 2.5 hours.
There's been some where I've been on this call for 3 hours.
Yeah. So that's fun. So that's a commitment, right? That everybody kind of commits to. Now, sometimes there's vacations or somebody's speaking at an event or whatever, and they can't be there. But I would say for the most part, we are pretty much there on a regular basis.
I think the kind of thing that Destiny and and we'll meet sometimes and say, okay, do we need to get some recommitments going on if people have been missing for a while or things like that? But it's like, you need to show up for 75% of what we're doing. And if you can't do that, it's okay. We're not mad at you. There's no problem. It's just this isn't the right group for you. We want to be able to actually get to know each other, to feel safe. We share mostly about business, but we have a lot of personal conversations that come up too about stuff we're struggling with. And so we would just want to have that kind of relationship where it's not, oh, who's this person? They haven't been on the last 10 calls.
Yeah, for sure. So we have that call. Then we have our ads call that is not necessarily, you don't have to be there, but it's more if you want to attend. And a lot of us are, really looking to do the ads and improve the ads. And so we have people that kind of come and go into that. And then we have our Telegram threads.
Yeah.
And people to mention and talk about that because I think is something that I love to do. And I go in there.
I know. Me too. I love our Telegram. And sometimes it can be a lot because it gets hopping sometimes in there. But I really like it because we used to be on Voxer, and Voxer is great for a lot of reasons. But one thing you can't easily do on Voxer is thread conversations. And so I love on Telegram, we can keep things pretty organized based on the thread. Telegram, we just use basically in between calls, but every day somebody's posting something in there. And sometimes it's, oh, did you see the news about something with AI that just happened? Sometimes it's, I need support with this thing, or who knows about this? It's just asking questions, sharing what's going on, send good vibes my way. I've got a webinar today or whatever. I love our Telegram channel. It's just a way to stay connected between things and do it in the time that works for you.
I just wanted to expand upon that a little bit. One of the things I love about the Telegram is, especially in this world that we live in with AI, things are changing so much, and we all keep each other updated on the latest and greatest. You might share something, I might share something, Monica may share something. To me, it's been one of the ways that I have kept up with all of the AI advancements and just come up that we discover as we are going through kind of our daily kind of life that you might
without having to be on social media, we can all just, and sometimes it's somebody being like, here's a news article. Did you guys see this? And then sometimes Steph will come in and say, oh my gosh, I just had Claude do this thing for me. I can't believe it. And then we're all like, tell us your ways. And then we all go build the same thing. And there's different ways that we're keeping up with it too. Sometimes it is more like objective news, and other times I got this really cool idea and look what I did. I think one of the cool things about our group is that we talk about stuff that I haven't always been able to talk about in other groups. And yeah, so we have a NDA for a reason.
Yeah. Everybody signed that. So we'll just go ahead and put that out there.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we can really come and talk about what's not working, where we're struggling, like what we're failing with. Of course, we celebrate lots of wins too, but I think there's a lot of screen sharing of, wait, how did you do this? Or what are you talking about? Or screen sharing, let me show you where the problem I'm having. How would y'all handle this? Or what do you see when you look at my ads manager? Or if you look at this sales page, what's wrong with it? And why do you think it's not converting? And that, to me, that's kind of my summary. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I love it. And I love kind of the behind the scenes. You've done a lot of debriefs. You've had some lunches here and there, and you've given everybody the behind the scenes. Monica does it too, and what she's doing. And I just think it's just a way for us to learn what's working right now. Things seem to change so often.
So often. And one thing too, I would say we are very structured, right? And so I think that really strengthens our group and how, yes, sometimes we can come on and 3 hours later, we're like, oh my God, we're all talking about our family drama and that has nothing to do with business. So there's flexibility for that kind of thing in our humanity. But there's also, we have a calendar of calls and we have an agenda, and it's like I'm just going to make this up because I don't remember it off the top of my head, but once a month we have a debrief call. And yeah, that's where people come and we go, okay, Kate's going to debrief her JV with, and Destiny's going to debrief how this launch went and this event. And so we'll come in and we really do share the behind the scenes numbers that you don't often see of what was the ad spend on that, and what do you have to pay out in affiliate commissions, and what was the refunds like, and what customer service nightmares are you dealing with now? That kind of thing. So we'll have calls like that. We have calls. We haven't been as good about keeping up with this one, but we got this strategy from a different group that we're in that's called Swipe My Strategy. And so everybody's supposed to come to the call and have 5 minutes to just share one thing they're doing in their business right now that somebody else could replicate. You don't have to be able to replicate it in 5 minutes. You have to be able to explain it in 5 minutes. And so we'll do things like that. Then we have open Q&A and talking about things. But I think that structure really also helps us get the most out of each other.
Yeah. And the other thing I just wanted to mention was we have it set up so that the same person is not having to lead the call every single week. So we have it set up so that you might lead it one week, I'll lead it the next week. Everybody takes a turn, which I think is so valuable. So you don't have one person carrying that heavy workload there.
And again, it makes it more peer-to-peer instead of there's a host or there's a leader and we're all here to learn from Kate or learn from Destiny. It's like, no, we're all here for each other. And yeah, I think that helps get the buy-in from everybody too. You can't be doing other stuff while you're on the call. You got to be actually like paying attention. You might be hosting this week. You got to move through the agenda. And we even have an agenda that people will put things on before the calls each week and say, oh, I want to make sure we talk about XYZ. I've got a question about this. And sometimes it's like, I just want to talk about what's working in school right now. I think there's a lot of things that a lot of us have done over the last 2-ish years that I don't know that we would have done without the group. And one of those things is school and moving our communities to school and creating these programs over there. And so we'll come on these calls and say, what's everybody doing in school? Why should I move? And some people who were like, I'm never doing it, which was maybe you just now here you are.
And then I did it.
Yeah. And I think so that's just so cool to be able to come in and really see how people are doing something that you might not have thought of or considered or tossed aside too quickly before, because it's like, oh, I don't think that's for me. And then you really get to hear about it week after week too and see, oh my gosh, wow, this is a strategy I think actually could work for me.
Yeah. I mean, I would say that I would put myself in that category of saying, no, I'm not doing school. And then I have now 2 communities on school because of this.
And it's going great.
It is going great, right? I should have done it a long time ago. But to your point, this is an environment where you can internalize and think about things and get feedback and really make sure that you're doing the right or going down the right path for your business. And I think that's one of the reasons why I love it. And I can tell you that for me, I can 100% say my business would not be where it is today had it not been for this peer mastermind. 100%.
Same, 100%. So many ideas, so many things that I never would have tried before, even the confidence to try different things, having the support. Be honest, what's something you've brought to this group that you wouldn't have said anywhere else?
What is something I have brought to this group that I would not say anywhere else? I'm trying to think. That's a really good question. I would say that one of the things this group, and you in particular, so because I think that you have been so forthcoming on your numbers, that is not something that I used to share in the past because I was like, okay, it almost seems like I'm bragging, right? Mm-hmm. As a woman, as a female in this industry, we've always been told not to brag. And that is something, I'm still, I still feel that tightness when I do that, but I definitely have started sharing my numbers and been more forthcoming about that. And honestly, I think my audience has appreciated it. So one of the things that I do, and I did it in July, was share behind the scenes of what happened with Hobby School, with all the numbers for our event. And I'm going to continue to do that. So I would say that this group has definitely made it so I know it's okay for me to do that.
Yeah. And I think especially in the age of AI, that this is one of the things AI can't do for us and for our clients and stuff, is to be really transparent and authentic about this is what's actually happening. And so I love that's become a part of your business. And I'm just nosy. I love hearing everybody, and I have no qualms about talking. I'm like, money, sex, religion, family drama, let's bring it all. I'm an open book. So I love it. What about if you have a hard week? Has there been a time the group has really caught you?
I would say that, yes, the group, especially the Telegram thread, being able to go in there and post, this has happened, how should I handle it? Or here's what I was thinking about doing. Does everybody agree with that? That is where I would really point to that Telegram thread. And I feel like it's very uplifting and gives me the confidence to move forward there.
Yeah, definitely.
What about you?
I was thinking so many times, I've brought so much stuff to this group. And we always talk about how we all want Faith to be our personal one-on-one coach. Faith Mariah, she's just so brilliant. She's such a good coach. She's so kind. And there's so many, everyone in our group, I could describe that way too. But I brought a lot of things to the group like that. But one was I was doing this big webinar and I had 7,000 people registered. I'd never spoken to a group this size. I was so nervous and anxious. And I just remember coming to the group and just being honest and about it. And what's really cool is at first you feel embarrassed, right? Oh, I shouldn't feel this way. I should be beyond this. And so many people in the group were like, thank you so much for sharing that you are actually nervous about this, because I would be. And now I don't feel bad about it. And then y'all gave me one of the best pep talks I have ever had in my life. And truly, I had been like spiraling all day. And this was we have our calls on Thursdays. The webinar was on the following Tuesday. So I still had almost a week and I had been so anxious. And then from Thursday to Tuesday, all of my anxiety was just gone after that. And so I feel like having the support of real friends to come to who really get it. I have, of course, my regular friends that aren't my business peers, but they don't get what we're doing in the same way. And so it's just been, I hate the word game changer because it's so cliche, but it's been such a game changer to have this group. So Daphne, we're coming up on the end here. If someone listening is feeling what we were feeling before this group, kind of that loneliness and isolation, what would you tell them?
I would say that, number one, get yourself in a peer mastermind like this. So there's a lot of different ways you can do it. You can do what Kate and I did, right? Which was
build it yourself.
Yeah, build it yourself. That is certainly an option. But it really has been such a game changer for me that I wanted to build a place where people could come together and really experience exactly what I have been experiencing. And that is with the Creators MBA Council. And I have designed it basically how we are running this peer mastermind. And it's going to have the 2 in-person events because I think getting together in person is also important. And we're going to be basically doing the weekly meetings and the Telegram or Boxer thread, just like we're doing in this particular one. And if you want to learn a little bit more about that, I'm going to put the link for that in the show notes. And I do have a private podcast that'll walk you through all of what is included in the Creators MBA Council.
Awesome. Thanks. Destiny, feel free to edit this out if it's not helpful, but I just want to say that if you're listening to this and you feel like I want to be in a peer mastermind like this, I joined other masterminds first, all right? I paid to be in the room first, and then you meet people at those things, and then those relationships evolve. And so it might be that it might not be like in the cards for you, especially if you're brand new in your business, to have a group of peers that you already know that you could invite, but joining something like the Creators MBA Council is how you start creating and start networking, and you never know where it could lead after that too. So I think it's a great reason, if you can't build it yourself, to join the group that will help you do that now and maybe later too.
Thanks so much, Kate. And thanks for joining me today. I loved having this conversation and reminiscing about how all of this got started.
I know, me too. It makes me so grateful for our Weird Hermit.
Thanks for listening all the way to the end. I hope you enjoyed this episode today. If you loved the show, I'd appreciate a review on Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast platform. Have a great rest of your day, and bye for now.